So it's me first this week, and I finished this game I'm going to talk about in January, and I never got around to talking about it on this podcast. So it's a 2D platformer called LightFall. It's been on the eShop for a long time actually, and it's had a few sales now and again. And looking at the game, it's got this quite a nice aesthetic that I quite like. It's got, the background is nearly neon and it's oscillating. There's a lot of colour in the background, but then everything in the foreground is dropped into shadow, you know, so it's like you're watching paper puppets playing through the foreground. Quite striking in tone, and it doesn't suffer for something Ori does, which is confusing you where your character is. Everything is pretty spot on in its kind of 2D platforming mechanics. And to be an outstanding, I suppose, 2D platformer, you've got to do something different. And they did try it with LightFall. I don't know if it quite strikes a balance of love. I don't really love this game, but I do like it. Usual 2D platforming mechanics, you know, it's a B to jump and the ZR button is your sprint button, so there's no context sensitive analog movement. You're either walking or you hold the Z button and you can sprint, and you really do sprint. This is a fast scrolling. You feel like Sonic the Hedgehog going from left to right or from right to left as some levels dictate. But there's no double jump. So the kind of thing that makes it different from other ones is that this character can cling basically onto any wall and doesn't slide down like he does in Ori. So once you're on a wall, you stay there. So it's a bit like Celeste, I suppose, in that kind of grippy mechanic. And then you can create blocks as you're jumping around. So you use the X button and you summon a block. Now, as you get more into the game and you develop your character and upgrade, you can create more blocks, so you can get further. So the kind of mechanic you're trying to do is to maybe get over a pile of spikes, and all you do then is run as fast as you can, jump as far as you can, create a block which automatically appears under you, then jump off that block in a kind of, it looks like a double jump, but you're just jumping and you're keeping your momentum from that fast run as far as you can again and creating another block. That's a kind of simple puzzle, distance puzzle, but the game throws lots of different puzzles of verticality and making sure that you're using the blocks in the right place while spike platforms are coming up and down. And I mean, it does everything that a good platformer should. It's just, it does nothing new. There's nothing striking there apart from that kind of block building mechanic.
I'm just going to ask, is there a limit to the amount of blocks you can
yes, there is, yes. And I can't remember how many because it was in January I played it. I think there's about a 3 or a 4 block limit, and one of those, but yes, there is a limit. And once you hit that limit, you create a block again and you get this sound effect saying basically, no, you were stuck with that block. And the last block, basically, when you create a new block, the block previously disappears as well. The way then to recharge your blocks is to land on a surface. So once you land back on hard terra firma, then you instantly recharge and you can go off again and create new blocks. So there are really challenging sections of where you can place your blocks to get to a platform higher up on the level without using too many blocks too quickly and all that. And the kind of wall jumping mechanic does aid you in that kind of endeavour. But the story is terrible, you know. It's the usual fare for this kind of thing, you know. There's this migratory race and there's this perpetual darkness that must be overcome. This evil is encroached upon your people. You've had to move somewhere and you've got to bring light to the world. And it's told through some cutscenes that are stills basically, and then but the narrator is really nice, you know. He's got a beautiful voice, the narrator's good, but the story he's telling just isn't gripping, and sometimes there's too much story. you can have after each level, and some of the levels are really quick, and there's some more fast levels where you're trying to dodge like a tsunami coming at you, and you're using the blocks to jump up at specific points while the tsunami encroaches upon your position. And then you get another cutscene, and it's this really, really long narrative cutscene that's not really developing the story, but it's talking about your character's feelings and the gods, and you're just not interested in it. So what is there is a solid 2D platformer, but that's it. That's all you get in. Don't expect anything on, let me think, Hollow Knight's kind of level. Yeah. So that is, what was the name of it? LightFall. Puzzle platformer. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.